Cousin Jared, we are back for Tuesday, September 26th, baseball. We cannot discuss two of the games on yesterday's show, so we are doing the rare recording before we even know how we did yesterday. We do know we got the Yankees, and I'm going to bring that up in one of our games late that we covered for this slate because I think it's like a perfect parallel to a game we're going to cover. Here today, and you're already putting the pieces. You know exactly where I'm going with this. We got the Yankees as a winner, which was nice, and a windy game, as I predicted the night before. I was about the weather being a little bit weird. It was windy. There was almost a drop pop fly, but the Yankees got it done for us, so that was fun. Hopefully, we'll do well in the night. Because those games haven't even started yet, so we can't even say where we are as of right now. What is happening right now is the Eagles just got a safety. So if you have them on your fantasy team, Cousin Jared, that's a big boost for you. I don't know if you do or not.
I've got a few fantasy teams. I'd be lying if I told you I knew exactly which defense I had in each league. So I'm going to pretend.
Which is the problem with having more than one. Fantasy baseball, for a while, I ran with two, and it was just I ran with two, and then after like one, maybe 2 years of doing that, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go for the exact same lineup on both teams, even if it might seem worse. I didn't really care. It improved my enjoyment of it. And that's really what fantasy is about, enjoyment, because otherwise you're 1 out of 8 or 10 or 12 to be happy, and otherwise you're going to be crushed. So if you get two and emotionally invested, it's never really good,
Completely agree with that.
We do have a day game on Tuesday. We have a doubleheader between the Dodgers and the Rockies. Unfortunately, starting pitchers are not confirmed, so we can't cover that game here on show. Otherwise, I'm sure, Cousin Jared, you would have been gracious and had allowed us to cover that game.
And given the people a day game, of course. I mean, I would love to, have one more over at Coors Field before the season winds up. Yeah.
TBD if we can get that over or not. But again, all those picks and all the games we don't cover here on Dub Club, that's where all the playoff content will live as well. Sign up link in the show description. Otherwise, then we'll get to it. 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Rays at the Red Sox. Zach Eflin, our boy, versus Tanner Houck. Houck not as bad. You see a little extra information on the screen there I was providing from before. Houck not as bad as that 4.92 ERA. Model gives him a 91 grade. XFIP right around 4. Zach Eflin's obviously been good to us. We love him. His underlying metrics are even better than his 3.44 ERA. The Red Sox lagging a little bit in offense. Here's the thing I'll point out, though. The Red Sox against a righty, as you can see on screen, that the parentheses, the versus a righty get a little bit of a bump. The Rays versus a righty get a little bit of a ding. So that kind of shifts a little bit to the Red Sox favor. Relievers, pretty comparable game in Boston. This is a coin toss game. And Cousin Jared, this is exactly what I was talking about. This feels just like that Yankees game. The home team out of it. The road team needs it. Doesn't mean the team that needs it's going to win. Plus odds, just like we got plus odds at the Yankees, it's the same situation here. Coin toss, plus 106. Why not?
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. And the other thing is that Sideline was fading Eflin in this spot, which is very abnormal. I'm not sure if there's a pitcher that we have backed more this season than Eflin. I'm not sure if there's a team we've backed more than the Rays, and not sure if there's a pitcher that we backed more than Eflin. I have to say he's not my favorite guy that we've backed this year. That would probably be the guy from the Twins that I'm blanking on right now. Love to back that guy. Not great.
Maeda?
Yes, Kenta Maeda. Yes, Kenta Maeda was one that I enjoyed backing a lot this season. So anyway, and there's another guy on the Twins that I like backing. Anyway, that's
Joe Ryan was last year's guy.
Yeah, Joe Ryan.
Pablo Lopez as well.
Pablo Lopez, good God, yes. I love me some Pablo Lopez.
We've backed the Twins a lot too, to be honest.
Yes, we have backed the Twins a lot this season. It's because nobody else can get past all the strikeouts except Sideline, apparently. Yeah. So the fact that Sideline was not on Eflin here said something to me, because Sideline definitely has affinity for the Rays and Eflin. So Sideline was kind of calling something out for me here, and like you said, feels like we've got a toss-up game with the home team at plus odds. I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and you make a great point about Eflin. We actually faded him last time out, and that might have been the first time all season we've actually faded him. We faded him in the first 5 against the Angels and got the victory there, fading him. And I was thinking about this because you brought this up before show, and I was kind of running through my head thinking about it. As the model tends to have its favorites whether it's pitchers or teams, offense, whatever. And it tends to go for the same thing over and over again. And for the most part, that tends to work. On occasion, you have to look at it and say, no, it just loves this team and they aren't that good. And that's okay too. The model's not going to be perfect on every team, right? So we have to understand all that. But it is interesting when it has its favorites, whether it's teams or starting pitchers, or in this case, a combination of both. And then it fades it, you kind of have to say, okay, it tends to shift that one direction all the time.
Yep.
Unless something's happened, now that we think there's a small edge in this, maybe it's actually a little bit bigger than we realize. Obviously, the caveat here, we don't know how hard the Red Sox are trying. It's been a disappointing season for them all. But again, the Yankees are in that exact same boat, a very disappointing season for them. And they took 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks. Also, the Royals, probably a disappointing season for them. I don't really know because they've just been so terrible.
Yeah.
But they just swept the Astros, so it's who really knows at this point, right? With this, that's why we said it last year. We said it all year leading up to this end of year stuff that we wouldn't get too carried away with who needs it, who wants it, etc. Because for the most part, that doesn't really help you. If it did, things would go a lot differently in life. But unfortunately, the will to win doesn't really do a lot for you because the other side still has talent as well. So we're going to back to plus odds here. Hopefully it works out just like it did with us on the Yankees. 7:20 p.m. Eastern, Cubs at the Braves. It'll be a nice night in Atlanta with a slight breeze blowing in at about 5 miles an hour. That's going to give it a slight lean towards the pitchers. And kind of counteract what's on average a slightly hitter-friendly stadium. Why is it slightly hitter-friendly? We've kind of talked about this a lot with Atlanta. I don't know if we've talked about it recently, but at the very start and very end of the season in Atlanta, it can be very pitcher-friendly on a chilly night, wind blowing in Atlanta. It's just there's more hot days than cold days. And the hot days, wind blowing out in the summer, that place can play very small. Of course, we all know the Braves have a fantastic offense, but the park does help them out. In the middle of the season. It just doesn't do any favors at the tail end of the season. That's kind of what we're seeing here. It's not going to be an overly chilly night. It's not going to be like those World Series games a couple years ago against the Astros where it was like dead unders because it was like 50 degrees and the wind blowing in. But we're talking mid to low 70s wind blowing. It's not going to play like the summer months did. You got 2 good starting pitchers, Justin Steele, Bryce Elder. Elder has struggled as of late. This is his last kind of tune-up here, second to last tune-up. He'll get this one, and then he should get the last game of the regular season before heading into, having a full week off, and then, being their number 4. I'm not sure he'll pitch in the first series. Sometimes that number 4 doesn't pitch in the first series. Struggled of late. Braves having an off day the day before. Plenty of guys in the bullpen to use. If he struggles, I'm not sure they're going to push him. Justin Steele, on the other hand, will be pushed, whether he struggles or not. He needs to throw a lot of innings for this Cubs team, who's in the thick of this wild card race, facing a really good Braves offense that's been kind of hot and cold as of late. They've really struggled at times to score runs, and then they'll put up 9 in a game. You never know what you're going to get with him at this point. Part of that could be motivation. How much does it play for? That sort of thing. Not really sure. They've just been a little bit more super hot and super cold. Justin Steele's a very good pitcher, though. We've loved backing him when we can. Models is 8.8 runs. We're going to go under 9.5 B-grade pick. Cousin Jared, the Braves unders didn't go great for us last week. Why do we think we've got a better chance at it here on Tuesday?
Well, the reason that I think that we have a better chance is because I have a lot of faith in Justin Steele. You have talked about all season about how he has been underrated and has really become the ace of that staff, which is what they needed when Stroman ended up getting injured. So that's the number one thing. I have a lot of faith in Steele. The other thing is this may just be me not wanting to give up on Bryce Elder, even though I was on this show probably like, I don't know, it's probably been 2 or 3 months ago at this point. It's like, Elder, peripherals aren't super impressive, but he's a guy that just gets it done. And it seems that those words might be coming back to bite me because the peripherals weren't that impressive, and now his performances haven't been that impressive either. So it may just be me hanging on to, I think Elder's still got something to give this season. But anyway, most of this comes down to Justin Steele. I like him a lot. And like you said, the Braves field not playing quite as hitter friendly in this spot. So, and you know me, I'm always partial to a good under.
Obviously, it's key to be on this side of 9.5 rather than going on the other side, with 9 being, a very common outcome in baseball games.
Yep.
And the fact that, if it gets to 4-4, we still got a shot here. We know that fifth run will happen, but we aren't caring, or someone will get a fifth run. We don't know beyond that. I think there might be a little bit of value in this under, mainly because of Justin Steele's struggles his last 2 starts. I don't really know what happened in his last start, except here's what my best attempt to explain it is. 2 starts ago, he faced the Diamondbacks in the start after he just faced the Diamondbacks. Pitchers sometimes struggle in that spot, and if I recall correctly, whoever he was pitching had the same problem, did really well against the Cubs the first time, and then in the rematch did not, right? The hitters had just seen him. And so 2 starts ago, Steele struggled because of that. Against Pittsburgh, 3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, but 6 strikeouts. Cousin Jared, he had a negative .74 FIP and a .36 xFIP and an 18 ERA. I'm just going to chalk that up to he got Babbitt to death, and that was just really unlucky. And I'm not saying the Braves offense isn't good. It is obviously incredible. We've long talked about how incredible this Braves offense is. But I don't think that 3 innings, 6 runs was like Justin Steele sucking. I think that was just one of the weirdest starts you see of the course of a season. The other one's explainable. You take those 2 out, and I get it. I know it's like, other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln, right? I'm not trying to do it, but before that, 7-1, 8-0, 6-0, 6-2, 6-2. I mean, he had been really cruising until those 2. They are explainable. It's understandable. And I still have faith in Justin Steele. And that is going to hopefully keep us on the right side of this play, keeping us to single digits rather than double digits. And you know what? Why don't we just double down on Justin Steele? It's your pitcher prop of the day. There's the graphic. Here we go. Plus expected value play according to our friends over at Outlier.bet. Again, /professor if you want that free 7-day trial. 3.9% expected value. He's hit this number, I don't know, some percentage of the year. It's been a lot. Cousin Jared, do you have any thoughts for us on this one?
I mean, I feel like I already said it. I have faith in Justin Steele. And you also mentioned that what do the Cubs have to lose, right? They're going to leave him out there for a while. And it's not like there's a lot of great options coming out of the Cubs bullpen to go up against the rest of the Braves lineup. And so he could potentially get this just through like attrition, and, he may give up 5 runs, but they still keep him in for, 6 innings or so. So anyway, I just like Justin Steele. He's been fun this year.
This line blows my mind. He's gone over 5.5 strikeouts 59% of the time this season. The Braves don't strike out a ton, but they do strike out a little bit more against lefties. Steele's faced the Braves already this season several months ago, got 7 strikeouts in 5 1/3. And as we mentioned, the Cubs bullpen seemingly has gotten worse all season long. They don't have anybody else. Like, I really think down the stretch here this last week, the way I'm looking at handicapping a lot of these games involving the playoff teams, the other teams, you just got to look at who's good, who's on their team, who's good, right? But when you think about the teams this week that are really fighting for a playoff spot, Mariners, Astros, Rangers, Cubs, half the NL, it seems like, is battling for that wild card, right? You got to think about the bullpen, how good the bullpen is and how they're going to approach things. You got a team like the Mariners, great bullpen. I'm not saying that again, the Astros game hasn't started yet. I'm not saying that if Castillo struggles, they're going to pull him right away, but they've got a good enough bullpen. It's an option for them. If Steele struggles a little bit, they only are going to pull him, you would think, if things are really bad, because there aren't better options, right? And so, like you said, there's a good chance that he gets this just because even a mediocre Steele might still be better than like your 5th best reliever until you get down to the 7th, 8th, 9th innings and your top guys. But you don't have enough top guys to fill in. So the Cubs need outs out of Steele, and that should lead to strikeouts. He's been really good. Plus 144 odds blows my mind. I feel like this should be like minus 120, not plus 144. I sent this out to our Discord before we started recording the show. I said, run, don't walk. I have no idea where this number's going to go. I just have to assume that by the time this gets the first pitch, it's a minus, not a plus, because the plus is just I just don't understand. It doesn't make any sense from a math standpoint or a mental handicapping standpoint. Why? And again, if you want that free trial, check out again. I just search at Outlier.bet again /professor free 7-day trial. I just search by strikeouts and outs, and I just tells me the little plus expected value indicator, and I go, "Ooh, let me look into that one." And sometimes I see it, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't really think I agree with that one. Other times I see it, and I'm like, yes, let's do it. So again, great tool if you're doing prop betting, MLB, NFL, college football. I don't know, you do college football props because I'm surprised you haven't talked to me doing college football props.
I dabbled with college football props in a game where Texas A&M did not have a healthy running back on the roster and somehow still managed to lose that, like, our third string receiver wouldn't have more than 80 yards rushing. So that's when I gave up on props, because clearly the books knew way more than I did. That's my college football prop story.
And hey, that's why you need a tool like Outlier.bet to help you out with that, because they help figure that stuff out, right? Which is all the tools you can use to be a successful bettor. Always good to have them. So you can Outlier.bet /professor free 7-day trial, which takes us to our last game of the night here, a late one for you at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. Padres at the Giants. Both of these teams are out of it at this point, all but mathematically. The Giants really struggling here down the stretch. Not a great schedule for them, unfortunately. I think they're tied with the Padres. And the Padres are all but out of it, doing incredibly well, as I predicted a week ago, right? 1-5 out of 6. It's just the other team just kept winning enough, got some big wins. The Padres just not. I think the Padres need to win all 6. I think one of these teams needs to win all 6 and get help, really. It's not very likely. So, I mean, it's all but over, especially unless one of these teams sweeps the other one. I'm assuming they've been playing hard. The Padres have played really hard lately, even though they've known that the odds were stacked against them. The Giants, have been a young team. I don't really see any lack of effort coming from them because you tend to get that more from veterans. You don't have as many of those on the Giants, or they seem to be, jelly pretty well with the clubhouse, the ones that they do have. So it seems like a team that's going to keep fighting. I expect it to be a tight series. We're talking about the total specifically. So model says 8.7 runs. We're going to go over 8. It is juiced at -120. Just catches a B grade. We're expecting a few more runs than an average or than the sportsbooks are. Not because the ballpark, it's still a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Not because the weather, it's going to be in the low 60s. Wind will be blowing out, but that matters almost none. And the model knows that because the winds swirl around there. This is really just about the fact that the hitters are going to be better than the pitchers. Seth Lugo has been very solid, but he's going up against a decent Giants lineup. The relievers for the Padres can be very up and down, especially, when you remove Josh Hader from it. The Giants relievers have kind of worn down. Kyle Harrison, very messed. Started off great, really kind of gone downhill since his Padres offense can still hit. Just good enough offenses, we think, to get us to 8 or above. Most common outcome in baseball is 9. Model thinks that's about where we're going to land on average. Over 8's B grade. Cousin Jared, tell us more.
Padres have won 10 out of 12. I mean, all they needed to do to turn their season around was have somebody write an article about how dysfunctional the clubhouse was. And that seems to finally have brought them together.
Was that what started it?
Yeah, somebody should have written that in like mid-June, and they easily.
And that's what happened with the Astros back in 2005, 2004 with the Tombstone and the article and the Houston Chronicle. Yeah. So anyway, somebody just needed to trash talk them. I am going to list off to you because this is always great to watch and listen to. I'm going to list off to you the Padres run scored in road games in the month of September. In the month of September on the road, they have scored 10, 5, 8, 6, 2, 11, 2, 5, 11. Yeah. So they've been scored a lot of runs on the road. And I think that can happen here in San Francisco once they escape San Diego, which is funny to think that, they're in San Francisco. Normally, you wouldn't necessarily consider that a hitter's park necessarily, but especially as comparing it to San Diego, it definitely can come off that way. So the Padres have been playing well in general. They've definitely been hitting the ball a lot better on the road here in the month of September, especially compared to home. So I like the Padres on the road to give us some runs. Well, and I'm going to go back to something you said months ago. I'm not even sure it's that they're hitting better here of late. It's that bad luck they had all season
Yeah.
with being terrible with runners in scoring position, a metric that we know historically has been tested and proven over and over again is not something that is skill based. It is completely volatile and random. And now that's kind of coming back around. It's just they had a long stretch of bad luck. And it was truly that. They had a long stretch of losing much of 100 games, et cetera. I mean, it was like everything possible went wrong for them. And now that that's changed, not only they're winning, they're putting up a lot of runs. It hasn't gone perfect for them. The one game they lost in this last week was a game that they had the winning run in scoring position with less than 2 outs in back-to-back innings in the 9th and the 10th, and then lost in the 11th. So it's not like it's gone perfect. It's just on aggregate gone better. The whole, every inning get 2 guys on and can't score nonsense has ended, and it's come back to what you would expect to happen, which is this is a very good offense. Again, going up against not a very impressive Giants pitching staff. And again, it's not like Lugo is – he's a solid pitcher. You can see that on the rating, but again, the Giants offense is solid enough. They're good enough to put up 3 runs, maybe 4. Padres good enough to put up 5, 6. We're eyeing 8, 9, 10 runs in this one. If we get 8, 9, or 10, that's a push and 2 wins. So pretty good for us there, over 8, B grade, which wraps us up for Tuesday's free picks. Again, if you want all the other picks, Dub Club is the place to be. Link in the show description. Otherwise, Cousin Jared, do you have any parting words?
I'll be on for one more baseball show the rest of the season. I will do my best to make it an all totals show. If that is an option given to me by the producers of the show, the executive producer, I will do my best to make it all totals. Also, just like we mentioned, playoff baseball will be exclusively on Dub Club. So make sure that you join us over there. And just a little bonus, if you're here mostly for the baseball coverage, you have the option of listening to the professor and I talk about college football for probably about 3 hours each week, an additional college football show on top of what's already on YouTube. So yeah, if that piques your interest, which I don't know why it would, but if it does, join there. Less than $1 a day. You can hear us talk about every college football game every week.
I feel like I've done a poor job of reminding people, under $1 a day on that. It's not like we're breaking the bank. And if you're betting any amount of money, right, the tools, the insights you get will be worth the money. If nothing else, it's worth the entertainment on the Discord. We have a lot of fun over there.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever thought of myself or been called a producer or an executive producer before. So it's a banner night for me.
You're a man of many talents, is what I would say.
I tell people I just do the math. In fact, and I got to tell the story now that we're here. A Friday night in my old man baseball league, I'm pitching, and I'm, there's like second, third, and 2 outs, and the catcher asked our manager if we should walk the guy, put him on, and let me face the next guy. And our manager looks at me, he's like, "What do you want to do?" Like on the mound, like in the middle of like all like 10 fans in the stands, and I'm like, I literally told him, I was like, I just do the math.
Yeah,
I was like, this is your job.
Yeah. You're the manager.
Yeah. I just do the math. That's all I do. But you're absolutely right. The Dub Club, link in the show description, under $1, a ton of goodies over there. I don't know if we'll have an all total show. It'll kind of depend on what lines are available. I feel like this last week's going to be a little bit later with, for whatever reason, decisions on pitchers are harder to make in the last week of the season. What it's starting to feel like.
Yeah, slim pickings. I mean, we do our best here, people, but sometimes we've only got what the books give us to work with.
Yeah, doing our best is what we got. All right, well, one more show for you, Cousin Jared. So, a baseball show, and then just football for a while. Huh?
Yeah. I can't believe it's already baseball season's already winding down. It's hard to believe.
All right, well, best of luck, everyone, and we'll see y'all later.